America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. I guess the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up public comment period. Is there a second for public comment?
Second.
Second. Any opposed? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have a list of
List for public comment. Is it over there? You got it.
Okay, do we have what's it? All right. Hold on a second. Hold on a minute. You can't get it.
I'm Lynn Bailey, 46 Walton Lane. When I read the sentence in the town's October newsletter last week, I immediately felt very excited and grateful. I read, graciously, the Hurley-based Nova Foundation has offered to pay 75% of the cost. That cost being over $400,000 to transform the old library into the Hurley Heritage Community Center. Amazing. We did that. Why wasn't this a headline on the website? This is a big deal. And yes, I had a little something to do with it. And so I'm here to say to the Nova Foundation, I can't thank you enough because you're helping to bring this to reality. And I don't know that this could have happened without their help funding, especially since we had to do lead and asbestos entered the equation. And from end to beginning, thank you to Tim Kelly and the committee for getting the blueprints to that stage. Thank you to Mike Bones for not letting this project slip by the wayside. Thank you to Kristen Shara and the Climate Smart Task Force for identifying the opportunity and allowing me to write about it in a grant application. Thank you to Melinda McKnight, who envisioned the project and helped with the proposal. Thank you to Peter Humphreys for opening a supporting dialogue with Nova Foundation's director. All these people and others, volunteer or not, worked on this project in spite of being pitted against each other politically. It is very rewarding to see how everything can come together in such a beneficial and tangible way. Let us commend and strengthen this governing process, even across a change in leadership has happened, and ensure that we have many other successes by working together, even as we are also so fortunate to have a charitable neighbor in our community. Once again, a huge thank you to everyone who worked on this, and thank you, Peter Buffett and Nova Foundation. We can't wait to use the newly imagined Hurley Heritage Community Center.
Please send that. Can you please send that up to the clerk's office? Sure.
Anybody else on this? Anybody wish to speak? Okay, I make a motion to close public comment.
A second.
Discussion. All right, full board.
Aye.
Aye, okay. We close the public comment. Okay, the minutes will be posted tomorrow, or the minutes from our previous administration. Town clerk's report.
Previous administration.
Previous meeting.
What's that? It is something.
For the month of September, we brought in a total of $40,006.97. Of that, of course, the transfer station at $24,611.97, and the building department at $14,223 are the majority of the revenue.
Okay. All right, the supervisor report, all I'm gonna say basically on this thing, I will have a more detailed one at the end of the month, and again, it will be, all the details. Just say one thing that, we are working on the AFR, the annual financial year of 2023. We have contracted with, RBT to finish the process. Jim Quigley started the process, is no longer able to finish it because of issues that are occurring in town of Ulster. So we have now gotten RBT to take care of this thing. And once, Wendy works with Wendy Falzano over at RBT, we should have this done very shortly, I believe. Wendy, they have all the information they need, the AFR, the 2023.
Yeah, 75% of it. If you read through the AFR, it's very, very detailed on what they need.
Okay,
So I was able to, between what Jim did and what I was able to find, I'd say they have 75% of it. A major component and problem is identifying the deposits from July to December. There are some things that I'm questioning. So they have all of it. They're going to look at it and we'll go from there. But
okay.
it's going to take some time.
I've spoken to the state controls office about this thing, and they understand our situation was, and they've given us time to get this thing done. So we're gonna get this thing done and clarify and get it straightened out, and then work on the 2024, so forth. We also, we have a tentative town budget that we are going to talk about. We're gonna have a public hearing next town board meeting. All right, we're gonna have that here. Comments can be listed there. We will post a tentative budget online shortly, and ask for your comments also on it. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to ask you, the town finances, bigger disarray 2023. Is that been a problem that this town has had over the many, many years, or is this just a problem from?
Be honest with you, what I can only say is that when I was on the board and prior, and that it didn't appear to be a problem.
Yeah, I've been coming to town board meetings for
I mean,
years since DiCaprio, and
yeah,
it was never a
we
problem.
never had a problem with this from the side.
Okay.
I mean, what happened in 2022 and 2023, I can't answer that. I can't answer that at all. All I know is that when I spoke to the state controller's office about 2023, and they said, they told me that we have to redo the entire 2023 budget from January to December. And then once that is done, they want us to do the entire 2022 budget because there's also some complications there. Now, we have not even touched 2022. We don't have to, and we're going to go back and clarify that. They pointed out some errors that they want explained, and so we are going to look into it more. I say, we'll go with it.
The errors in 2022.
2022.
It's just for to add some more fuel to this fire, if you will, is that it's very hard for me to accept or to understand that all of the problems that we're dealing with now are a result of 2 years of activity. I mean, it's just impossible. The level of work that Wendy and Jim have been doing. This is a systemic issue that dates back sometimes. So I just want to be clear on that. I'm not saying that there weren't errors in the last administration, but we also need to be very mindful that some of those systems that they were working with or not working with were already archaic and were already compromised.
The only thing I can say to that is that when Melinda and I took over in January of 2022, she was quoted in the paper saying that she was up a mess with the budget. And I mean, I don't, that's what she said. That's all I know. And so according to her, it goes further back.
Well, I mean, it's obvious from what Jim has done that there are system problems that can't be dated back 2 years.
Gregory,
It's not possible.
I don't know that I agree or disagree. I will say that the use of the accounting firm to do all the books and the AFR was discontinued mid-year in 2023, and that resulted in the massive snowballing in size because the records were not being
But that company has been for like 40 years.
in a manner that goes with
You know,
government accounting standards.
where the issues arise right now is from August 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023.
Yeah.
When RBT was no longer
Yeah.
an account. But prior to that, the books were okay.
Well, no, I thought you said they weren't doing financial since March.
They didn't,
I wouldn't go so far as to say that based on what we've seen Jim do, because it's not possible in my mind
Yeah.
that all of these changes have to be, I mean, these are, what we're talking about that's being done now over the last 6 months is system-wide change.
It is.
It's not just
Well,
cosmetic
I
issues.
think Jim is making it a more definite,
Well,
more defining thing.
absolutely, but there's a
However-
reason why.
Well, but we still had like, an account would be more of a general account, but there wasn't a problem with that account that we're encountering this year from last year. Those accounts were fine up to 2022. They were just generalized and not broken down to where Jim breaks it down. It's like a mess.
The decimal point.
Yeah, but that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be
It might be prudent to wait until the internal audit is complete and you guys have everything financially in order before, commenting on what the circumstance was, where it began and so forth. Because as of right now, my understanding is that the information is not completed. Then, at that point, it might be more appropriate to have a forward discussion.
That's reasonable.
Only and Wendy can speak more to this, is that RBT had systems in place. The town passed information to RBT. So Jim was recreating systems here for us to work.
Oh, okay. RDT had it.
Yeah, I do want to say something about financials. So, yes, the only financials posted in 2023 were January, February, March.
Yeah.
April, May, June, July were not posted. However, it was submitted by RBT, never posted. We found those and we posted those. So from January of 2023 to July 31st of 2023, the books appear to us to be okay. From that point on, we don't know. We don't know.
And I apologize for confusing that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, presentation, the comprehensive review committee. I just want to say something. Can you, no, stand up. I just want you to recognize the people on the CRC because of all the work they've done.
Okay, no, I have it on here too.
All right, great.
All right, no, definitely. Okay. This on? Yes. Okay, 2024, finally have a comprehensive survey. I'm going to start with just a brief history of the comprehensive plan.
Joe, closer to, yeah.
Closer?
Yes.
Yeah,
This way. Okay. In 2006, Hurley developed a comprehensive plan. In 2022, the town decided it was time for an update, which we had never done. After a few unsuccessful attempts, the town approached the CAC and asked if we could take on the task. We accepted and the town put out an all call for the volunteers to assist us and tackle the job. The people who came forward and volunteered their time were Tisha Poulos, Gary Graff, Karen Gill, Christian Osterhout, George Jacqueline, and Greg Tetralt. They did a great job of formulating the survey and getting it out. Special accolades need to go to Greg, our computer genius who organized the survey on the computer, compiled all of the responses, and put this presentation together. If I had to do it, I would still be hitting the enter and escape buttons on my computer. I am not computer savvy. We were very pleased with the responses of 457 Hurleyites who answered the survey. That's been the best thing we've ever had. Even with other surveys that we've done before, I think our last was about, your postcard was great. Okay. We had maybe 300 or so at the last survey we did with the CAC. Yeah. Okay. So our next steps will be to take this information and develop a plan that will assist in zoning and planning for the improvement of Hurley and its lifestyle for the current and future residents. There will be additional opportunities for the community input before the plan is completely finished. Each slide, which we'll go through, will show a question and a pie chart or a bar chart to represent the percentages and make it easier to determine where the concerns and wants for our residents and what they view as important to our town. So I'll hand this over to you.
Yeah.
Let me just get it back to the beginning. Okay, you're up.
All right, terrific, terrific. So, thank you, John. That was very kind. And, obviously, the, main objective for the survey is to collect community feedback. Why? The principal driver is that this is to update our town's comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan establishes land use policy and a vision for the future. Any new zoning law must be in accordance with the comprehensive plan. That's now New York State law. The comprehensive plan must reflect community values and priorities, and the survey is a big part of that requirement. So to be an effective gauge of the community, we must maximize the survey response rate. So that's really objective number 2. The strategies we used include reducing completion time, targeting smartphones, and simplifying the questions. We also calculated that about 355 responses would be required for the survey to be statistically valid. And what that means is we can use it for policy. All right. We did plenty of work on the background of how we arrived at 355, but not really relevant here. However, the punchline that Bill already shared, we got 457 completed surveys. And that puts us well within
Margin of error.
margin of error and, the information that we need that we can confidently move forward with setting policy based on what our community really thinks.
You mean well beyond margin of error?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well beyond,
Yes,
Well,
well, yeah,
yeah.
For sure.
yes.
And I mean, basically, we ran it for a little over 3 weeks. The survey concluded. We delivered a report to Mike very shortly thereafter to kind of give him a flavor of what the community thought. But we got on the calendar as soon as we could to share the information with the board in a more formal setting, as well as the community at large. All right. And now we'll get into the actual results.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at this one here. All right, the first question was how important it is for the town to prioritize the preservation of Hurley's scenic beauty, rural character, and small town atmosphere. And only 456 responded to that. So this number up here will be the responses. Total surveys were 457, but each we'll see with the question. And the townspeople said, very important. And it's quite interesting because when we did our open space plan and we had done other plans from the CAC, it was basically the same. They want to keep, Hurley as beautiful and rural and small town as we possibly can. Okay. And then do you want to explain this part?
Sure. So some of the questions included a free-form response. So for instance, on this question, we asked respondents if other priorities were important to you. And about 208 people who took the survey actually completed the free-form comment. And what we did as a committee is we actually broke down all of those free-form comments. We categorized them, then recategorized them, then collated them to make sure that they were all statistically valid. And we produced this table of what the community thought were other priorities. This is really for all of you to determine what here is lining up with priorities that you have, but important things to remember about this is that the free-form response categorization, each one can be categorized 0 times, once, or more. So for instance, a few cases of people who put in a comment had multiple priorities in their response. So that would add to it. Other comments were simply things that were only important to that one person. So they didn't even make the table. That's just something to keep in mind when you're actually looking at the numbers. And of course, we can see that zoning and land use is the number one position on the priority.
Okay, this was in general, which statement best describes your vision of the town government? Okay, and 72.3% want to keep taxes low and current services the same. Okay, only 14% want to provide additional services, and there's a small percentage that want to reduce, which is quite interesting. You would think that, you know, wanting to reduce in today's day and age with what's, you know, with the inflation and everything, but early ice want to keep it basically the same.
Can I just add something to that?
Sure.
In Ulster County, town of Hurley has the lowest tax rate.
Oh, I know that.
You know, so, by going down and reducing taxes further, or even down to zero.
That would be great.
Money just flows in.
I think town of Olive needs a little bit.
Oh, do they?
I
Okay.
think we are.
I'll show you the numbers.
Groundwater depletion. Now, this was quite high. Okay, it was 87.3%. So what it's telling us is that we need to protect our water, okay, for the future. So that's going to be an important part of zoning and how we develop our town. The next one, Hurley possesses scenic mountain views. To what extent should the town government work to protect and preserve it? It was kind of close, but not so much, but it's a percentage that they want to, proactive rules, restrictions on activities impacting any design, you know, designated scenic views. That would be our overlooks and, you know, keeping our forests, not, you know, clear cutting or whatever. So, you know, that's something we have to look into. Affordable housing.
That's it.
That's quite large again. Okay, separate dwelling unit on the same property as a primary dwelling and accessory apartments, and regulations to promote more accessory apartments because we are an aging community. Okay, and that's 64% of those surveyed want that.
On the agenda, Walls here to explain the ADUs.
Okay,
So that's something we,
I don't think, do we have it?
No, it's
We
not.
don't have it in
Like
our
Greco
zoning.
just put out that whole thing and we weren't one of the
No.
towns on there.
Yeah.
we don't have ADU compliance yet.
Right.
So it's something that, you know, I didn't know about that, but that's what came out of our survey. Do you support the town board having direct authority to rezone residential property to light industrial use, bypassing any comprehensive reviews? And they said, no, that was a definite. Okay, so I guess they want to keep that intact. Along commercially zoned 28, many commercial businesses are located in former residential units. In this zone, the property owners have the option to repurpose the residential buildings. And yes, that was all, this is very high. So I think they want to keep the look of what Hurley is on 28, as opposed to some of our other towns that are, you know, it's horrible. That we can have a beautiful entrance into West Hurley. Drive-throughs, was an interesting, okay, drive-through businesses being permitted in Hurley in areas zoned for such businesses, as long as they comply with existing traffic, environmental, and regulatory laws. And again, it was yes, but limited was the largest portion. And the other two were I think fairly close. The Hurley flat zoning, permit use, now it's 4 acres, and a new zoning to create an increase. And most everybody said, no, keep it at the 4 acres. Yeah. You have a question?
Yep.
Sure.
But the majority said to make it more than 4 acres.
No.
No, it says no.
Keep the 4 acres.
You know, the
Yeah,
two
two
yes,
yeses,
but
two yes.
Yeah, if you
The
had
majority
actually
said
more.
Well, then it would become more. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's,
So maybe that, yeah, so maybe,
it's less than half the people want to keep the forest zoning, so.
right. So that's really, if you put the two together, And then it's very close. So maybe that's something we do look into.
So I will tell you that, on a separate document, we ran the margin of error, confidence intervals on all these numbers. And it's actually plus or minus about 5%.
All right,
So
it's in there.
this is really a toss up.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I wonder how many people don't look for knowledge transferring to, I'm sure.
they might not.
Right, because you didn't have everybody answer that question.
No, there were only 439. So maybe they did not understand that question. But that's why we will open up, more of our meetings and we're going to have more input. Town parks. Now, this is interesting because we only have 2. So do you support the development of small parks funded by taxpayer? We only have 1 town park, right?
1 park. Yeah,
I'm sorry, what did I say 2? I don't know. Okay. And what was interesting is that they want more small developed parks, but they didn't give us much feedback as to where they wanted them. Am I correct?
We also want Texas to stay the same.
Yeah.
Yes, of the 446 respondents, we'll get to suggest the location was the extra,
Right.
sort of where you want it. And, only 90 responded.
Yeah, because it's hard to pick the place.
Because
it's
very difficult.
Right, they don't even know what the
Yeah.
layout is.
So I would say that people.
Oh, here it is. Well, that's what I'm saying, the 2. There it is, West Hurley and Old Hurley. That was the percentage of
But
people.
only
that-
42 people responded.
That's it. So it wasn't a really big response.
Actually, so 92 people responded, but only 42 people were enough to categorize. So in other words, there were a lot of, next door to my house.
That's what I would like to, like, what are specific recommendations?
Well, I think when we have more meetings.
Yeah, because, okay, but how are we gonna pay for them? Where are they?
Yeah.
Well, they pay for themselves because then you don't have development and then that costs us increased school tax. So
Right.
you actually save money by saving land as parks or open space.
So, as we progress with this, we'll have more open meetings and, we'll ask people specifically, where do you want that? Or where would you suggest we have it? Okay.
We don't know what land's available yet either.
No.
At the time, we will know.
So, I mean, overall, we can conclude that the community leans towards more parks, but I wouldn't say strongly leans towards more parks. So, well.
And you don't have any, besides, there's no structural data as to what they want besides
This
a
is
little bit
what we were,
on the more park side.
so this is what we were able to extract.
Right, and what's the confidence interval on that quarter?
So the confidence interval is 4.9%.
Okay. So. Makes it
Sorry about
really-
that.
So
Makes
That's
it
okay.
So
really
it's a yes,
close.
but a weak yes.
Like, yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. we
So
do.
you want to go to there? Oh, one too far, sorry. Sensitive button, I apologize.
You got it.
Okay. And again, do you support the access within the town of Hurley to the Sophus Creek? And between the somewhat interested and the very interested, that's a high percentage. And only 15.6% could care less. So that's something that I don't know, what's that? Yeah,
Those are
getting your
going on
cut.
kayaks.
So, how we approach that in the future, we'll look into that. And the town highway department garage, okay, which will be, let me read it. The town is aging and located in Old Hurley, far from residents living north of the Ashokan Reservoir. Which taxpayer-funded policy do you support? And it was interesting that develop a new garage and renovate existing town hall over time was the largest percentage. Okay, but when you combine these two again, develop a new centrally located complex for all town services or defer development until absolutely necessary. I kind of would kick that one out almost and, look at the other two. Sidewalks foster safety and community interaction, but only if they are actively used by neighborhood and supported by affected property owners. Do you favor additional, and that's close.
Greg, what's the confidence interval on that?
5.9%.
That's completely washed.
Yeah, that's,
That's a tie.
yep. Yeah, I was surprised because, you know, a lot of people had come to meetings here and they were all interested in getting, you know, the sidewalk, so they could,
But this also might be a function of where people live.
Yes.
Yes,
if with Yeah.
children walking to school.
Well, see-
Because we did get quite a few comments on sidewalks, especially for an open question that towards the end of the survey. So 121.
Oh, so this is all Main Street and around the school.
That's right.
those were in the comments.
Yeah, it's families walking to school. all
Yeah.
around.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that might,
So there's a
That makes
message
sense.
here.
that's something that could maybe be solved with like a sidewalk overlay district. Where, because, you know, like up on the escarpment, you're not ever gonna put sidewalks up there on
Right.
the rural roads.
And West Hurley's not gonna have sidewalks, you know,
On
Well, maybe-
375.
375,
Maybe
no.
in the, you know, maybe in the neighborhood where Cedar is, that they would want something, you know.
They might want them, but those roads are so narrow.
Right.
And so, you know,
This is where putting.
but this is when we, sorry.
I'm sorry, I was gonna say, this is where putting a complete street statement in the comprehensive plan is very important.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely. And are you in favor of privately developed senior housing in the town of Hurley? If so, check the types which you support. And, again, we didn't get that many responses. I was very surprised, but the largest response is retirement communities, 55 and over, assisted living, low income, and nursing home.
So when you combine assisted living and
And
nursing home
home,
and 55 plus, there seems like there's a lot of demand there.
well, do you
Keep
think,
in
yeah,
mind it's a multiple choice, like you can pick multiple.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, they don't add all up to.
no, we had these, 4 choices.
Yeah, those numbers don't add up to 360.
Right. And then partnering with New York State and Ulster County, the Hurley Climate Smart Task Force was formed in 2020 to advise the town, articulate the goals, create plans, and complete projects to address greenhouse gases and climate change. Which statement best represents how Hurley should approach its residents regarding the climate change? And, you know, it was 67.1% in an advisory capacity, made available climate-related information and opportunities that residents can assess in forming their own conclusions as how they will address the environmental concerns. And that's exactly what Climate Smart has been doing. Okay, and they've gotten the grants and they've gotten the awards and they're making the town aware.
Is there?
You want to?
Sure. So as part of the developing the survey, the board came back to us and said, please add a section for final comments. Now, there wasn't a specific question associated with this. This is really just a free-form input. So what we did to get something out of this was look at all of the responses, of which there were 113 responses, and see what themes popped out. And 3 themes really popped out for the committee. All of us went through every single comment and tried to put them in buckets, and it quickly became apparent that 3 buckets were the biggest buckets. And those would be keep taxes low. This is not surprising based on the other responses. Maintain Hurley's rural character and provide more housing with environmental restrictions. So those are the takeaways from the final comments. And what we did is included some anecdotal, actual from the survey responses so that you can see what people are actually saying. And that concludes the presentation.
Yes, very good. Very nice.
The speakers here can stand up. Yes, Mike.
Yeah, no, yeah, all the people, all the SCRC committee members, please rise. Yeah, I gotta say something about this, Ceci, and this is something we all get paid. They don't get paid. They do it because you feel affinity to the town. And I appreciate that. I think that you guys have done is outrageous, you know. You get paid, you're volunteers.
We like Hurley, that's why.
We got Curly too.
Yeah.
But what you do though is just, I find it amazing. Well,
A good group.
every
It is a
single,
good, I really, it's a very good group.
I like the other
Well.
people.
you know, it is also, I gotta say, when we first hired NPV, Nelson Broken Boys in 2019 to do the comprehensive plan. You know, we gave like $60,000 to do that plan and we never used that plan. You guys are pretty. You know, and you came up with a great plan.
Keeps our taxes low.
Wasn't free, it's $1,800.
Didn't go to you.
And 30%.
You know, and it was worth it, the fact that you had so many responses like that. That's really good.
We were, yeah, but the postcard that you put
No, but it was
together.
good looking, it's designed. People respond to aesthetics.
And I also think that they, it was publicized enough.
It was nice.
It was on the website and the information got out.
And we all called like 20 different.
Yeah, we all called everybody. Yeah, you got the card, get on the computer. But, hopefully now this is the beginning and we'll get everything done. Okay? Oh, yeah, ask Mike if he wants it.
Yeah,
The slides online?
online, yes.
Put them online tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. You know, it'd be nice to see a page.
I think there's a
Yeah,
comprehensive plan that's already on.
there is a CRC page, right? Put it on
So
my
you can put
page
it on
too,
that.
and Facebook to draw attention to it, right? Okay.
It's on here.
Okay, first thing here, I just forget. First one is, this is a resolution we just, did it today. That's why it's not on the agenda. It just came in today.
Yep, this resolution to appoint a part-time zoning board of appeals secretary. We had, done some interviews and we had, excellent candidate accept an offer today. Marcia Black. This is the resolution to appoint her in that position. Make a motion to accept the resolution. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So passed.
Okay, the next one is amend resolution 2022-99, purchase of two
Mike
highway
Schultz.
trucks. That's, Mike Schultz.
I'm gonna get these to you soon. We're doing until 3:30 today. One or two.
Yes, that's two.
Okay, so a couple meetings ago, I mentioned that we had ordered 2 trucks in September of 2022 from Western Star. And checking in through the COVID pandemic, we were having supply chain issues, delays. They said they were going to be built in last December 2023. They didn't come through, and I found out a couple weeks ago that Western Star corporate canceled 65 orders in New York State, ours being 2 of them. They never notified us. It was only upon my insistence with the dealer and the salesman that I finally found out. So I did a little bit of scrambling, as did a couple of the other Ulster County Highway Departments. The Sophus was involved, Shandaken. So I found a couple trucks on the lot with Kenworth with very similar specs. And I met last week with Mike Assett, our mechanic, and Charlie O'Keefe, our working supervisor. We went down to Ellenville to Reed Systems. And we got to drive one of the trucks, look at it, talk to the upfitter. The upfitter is the people that, they weld on the trailer hitch on the back. They put the stainless steel body on it, the wing plow, the front plow frame and the plow, and all the controls and whatnot. So it's a two-tier process. You buy the truck, then it goes to the upfitter, and the upfitter makes it into a plow truck. So after
We're buying a truck chassis and cab, and then sending it to an outfitter.
well, we're gonna buy the truck complete.
Okay.
I didn't want to get involved in that. I got involved in that a couple of years ago, and it was a pain in the neck. So these are all a Sourcewell. Sourcewell is a government-approved, OGS-approved system that allows you to go out and buy, or you can get it off Onondaga truck. We did it through Sourcewell. Office of General Services has continued to put everything out to Sourcewell now, and then there's another one, HGAC, I think it is, because they're trying to limit the work that OGS has to do on getting all these bids together for the different counties in the state and all the municipalities. So the first one I did a 5-year lease through NCL, which is also on Sourcewell. They're a government financing agency. And I brought it to Mike the other day. We had a long meeting and we discussed it. And Mike made the suggestion that we go to Bank of Greene County. So we made a call. And I don't know if we got back to you, but NCL is charging 6%.
They're charging us 4.5%.
Yeah, so 4.49, I thought he said on there, 4.5. So over the life of the lease, that'll save the town over $50,000, over $10,000 a year.
Right, Bank of Greene County, good idea.
Yeah.
So I had them revamp the quote that comes from Gabriella Truck so that we cut NCL out of that. And that's your second page in there. And the cost of the trucks, glasses please, were $297,434.09 for each truck. Our original resolution that was adopted in August of 22, resolution 99, was 260,000. The increases in inflation for the truck and the upfitters is the cause for the price increase. And after I got these prices, Western Star actually came to me and said they had a truck and they wanted to sell it to me for $325,000. I said, thank you, but no thank you. So these trucks are pretty nice. They have a low hood that the operator can see the plow on both sides, which is unique to that truck. It's pretty nice when we test drove it. And the best part is the upfitter told me that he can have these trucks built in 3 months. The one truck is already at his site, and if we sign the agreement, they'll start it right away. The other truck is in Montgomery. They'll deliver it in 3 months. Now, will I hold them to 3 months? I'll try to, but you never know. But again, supply chain, all the parts that we wanted, the bodies, the plows, the wing plow, he's already ordered and are on their en route to his business in Ellenville. It's nice that we have somebody down the road, 40 miles, that we can continually go down there and check progress and make sure that everything's the way we want. On other trucks, we've had some issues with the trailer hitch plate that they welded on the back, or how they've mounted the dump body and the way the dump body goes into the paver. So it'll be a really nice option to have to go right down here to Ellenville and monitor that. Yeah, Tim.
What kind of system will be in place? Are they augmenting the springs on the side with the wing plow?
Put an airbag.
Or an airbag?
Yeah. I thought about the springs. We talked about it. He goes, no, new technology now. They use the airbag so that when it goes down, it's got a sensor and automatically. So when the wing plow is not on there, you don't have that extra spring all the time.
Right, so it doesn't stiffen one side.
We're replacing two of our oldest trucks, 7 and 8. 8 does Hurley Ridge and 7 does downtown and Rolling Meadows and that. And they both have wing plows.
Those trucks, like I remember you welding new floor pans to do. the truck, like, was that the truck you had to like rebuild the floor because there was holes in the floor?
Oh, we've had to do a bunch of stuff. So
Keep 'em
you can
going?
look at the vouchers and see how much that we spent on.
Yeah.
Last year, at the end of the year, we had to put almost $40,000 in one truck to get it back on the road. It's crazy what we've been spending. So this will be our fourth new truck in 6 years.
What
And,
are, yeah, okay, what are these warranties that we're getting? The option 3?
there's two warranties. As you know, all these new trucks come with many chips. So I wanted the extended warranty besides just a drivetrain. I wanted the extended warranty to cover all the electronics in the truck. And then I also got the extended warranty on the Allison automatic transmission because they're very expensive. And the nice thing about the Allison transmission is the dealer's right over here on Software Road, Eagle Diesel. So everything I've done is try to get as cost effective as I can with the both the maintenance and the longevity of the truck.
And this different financing, this is also a $1 buyout lease option?
Yeah,
Bank
there-
of Lee County.
there won't be any buyout, $1 buyout with Bank of America. We pay the loan off and charge.
Right, yeah.
So, they're waiting. All we have to do is get the board to approve that resolution and sign off on it. We can get this thing rolling. I'm very concerned about the fleet as we have it now. We're constantly working on these trucks constantly. So, I think the sooner that we can upgrade the fleet, the least expenses we're gonna see going out the door for repairs.
We'll be able to predict the cost on a more fixed basis because of keeping their equipment up to date. Unpredictable $40,000 on a junk truck.
Well, several years back, I proposed a 5-year plan, but if the truck, you keep track of all your records, and as long as the truck is treating you well, you keep it until it starts eating your tax dollars up. When it starts eating your tax dollars up, then you replace it. But, that's why I proposed a 5-year plan. The other thing is that we have two other trucks that will need to be replaced soon. And as of January 1st of 2025, no truck manufacturer is selling trucks in New York State because of the new law that they adopted. The law states that for every 10 diesel trucks that they sell, they have to sell 1 electric. None of the manufacturers have an electric truck. They tested the electric trucks that they were proposing, one I think at JFK, one of the airports, and then one upstate. And DOT ran them and MTA ran them, and the batteries only lasted 45 minutes. Was the most, and that was without using windshield wipers and the heaters and defrosters and sanders. That was just the truck and the plow. The actual friction of the plow on the pavement drew the battery right down.
What is the age of the trucks we're replacing?
2005s, I think.
So 20-year-old trucks, basically.
And these new trucks are 2025s. The other thing is that in 2027, new emission standards go into effect. And it's going to increase the cost of the trucks by 30% on average. So if we wanted to get trucks to replace truck 17 and truck 10, which is a 4-wheel drive truck with a wing, we might want to think about that now, because it's going to cost a heck of a lot more in 2027, or if we can even get them after 2025.
Yeah, the thing is, what's really good about this, we can order those 2 trucks from 2027 and not pay it until 2027.
Correct.
See, so that would make sense for us to,
But we don't pay for these trucks until we get them from the outfitter.
Right.
And then once we get them from the the outfitter, I should say, then our payments begin. We pay them for the truck. And then, if we get the bond now and we put it in the bank, we can earn, I don't know, what are they paying on the bank account now? 4%, 5%?
so 5.25.
So if we got the bond now and put that and started earning money on that for 3 months or 4 months, we might even save a few bucks more. But I'm just thinking, further ahead, further out. Keep the fleet, because I've been following white paper after white paper. Nitrogen, combustible engines, ammonia, hydrogen fuel cells. Nothing has panned out yet. I know that everybody's working on it. The Swiss, the Europeans, the Germans, us, everybody's working on it. It looks like Well, the internal combustion engine may be the winner in the end, but it's gonna have zero emissions. You know, if you run nitrogen or ammonia in it, you get H2O out the pipe. So, I mean, there's prototypes out there that they're running, but nothing in production yet. So, you know, I'm the first one to say, I want to see emissions go away with these big trucks. You know, the cost for a new truck when they do come out, probably gonna be, you know, $600,000-700,000 a truck. So, it's food for thought that if you do decide that you want to replace truck 17 and truck 10, now would be the time.
How old are they?
I think they're around 2008.
Oh, no.
So they're 16 years old.
They'll be 18 years old.
They're old enough to drive themselves.
Well, the salt, not having a highway garage with a wash bay, the salt just eats them up. You know, the old garage, we used to do our best when the temperatures got up that we'd shoot them off with the fire truck, clean the salt off them, and get the salt off the rails. But, you know, without that wash bay, it's tough. It's really tough, and that salt is corrosive.
And the wheels are just spitting that right up into the gas.
The question, so you raised something about changing in emission standards in 2027. Would these trucks comply with that?
They would have to, they would be grandfathered. But they already have the DEF system on. I don't know how they're gonna upgrade the emission standards on it, to be honest with you. I mean, what we have now with the depth fluid system, and the low sulfur fuel, they've cut the emissions on greatly, but I don't know what the new emission standards are. I haven't read up on the facts of it yet. I don't even know if there is a fact sheet out on it yet. You know, we all know Albany likes to pass things and then figure out how to do it after. I was involved when they did Leander's Law. Got to see it firsthand when we passed that. So I don't really know what the new emission standards are going to entail.
So basically what we're doing here is disregarding this in the packet, the resolution here, and substituting this resolution that you just gave us.
So the resolution I passed around was the updated resolution. Samara and I worked on it, and Michelle.
Okay.
I
The one that's in
finalized
our
it.
packet, it tells us this is the Western Star.
That's
Yeah.
the one in the packet. So that's updated.
That's accurate. This is-
Toss that one and use the one that I gave you there. And,
Very good.
because they're not Western Stars, they're Kenworths.
Got it right. So we have to just fill in the lease payment there, and we'll do that once we get the,
Yeah. We got the total cost of the trucks, but we need the 5-year lease payments. And, that would figure into it. So 6%, we had figured out yesterday, Mike, that 6%, we had figured out the cost for each truck. And those are gonna be over what we're gonna be paying, but
Mike, it doesn't say here, what is the displacement of the motor on this truck?
I'm sorry, Rob.
What is the displacement of the motor on this truck?
Motors are 360 horse Packer, which really is a Cummins motor. They call it the L360, I think it is. And again, if it was just the old time Packer motors, I wouldn't have bought the truck. Seeing as how there's no difference between the E and the L model because they're both made by Cummins. And Cummins also makes the emission systems for all your diesels out there, Detroit, International, what have you.
Other industry that's consolidated significantly. Truck manufacturing has consolidated significantly.
What are you gonna do with the old trucks? What are you gonna do with the 2 old trucks?
Auction for what we can get for them, which probably won't be much. That's why also that I was trying to go to that 5-year plan, because there's a couple counties upstate where they auction their trucks off after 5 or 7 years, and they're getting over half the cost of the truck, because other towns are looking for that used equipment, but they get scoffed up so fast because these other towns and counties know about them in advance, and they're gone. So, but I mean, we gotta do the best to try to manage it. And, right now, like I said, I'm real concerned about if we get a heavy winter, how our trucks are gonna hold up. We haven't luckily, had a real heavy winter for a little bit, just had a lot of ice, but, if we had a winter storm like we had, I think it was, December of 21. Well, December 21, I think it was what we were out for 20 some hours. Guys, actually, it had to be 22 because we were in a new shop. They slept in the shop that night and then went back out after
It was
4 hours.
February of 22.
And, yeah, it was a long storm. And I remember as a kid, you just have to go and wing back the banks because they got so high. It was,
So on this resolution here, we're asked for a lease payment. What we could put in there at the time being is $178,000 for the 2 trucks. Put it that way, until we get the lease payment, from Bank of Green County.
well, maybe we just amend the resolution, to say that this is approved, we can sign off on it,
Then you won't have to. make an
and
amendment.
we'll add the cost of the financing.
All right, so we'll do that. So, therefore be resolved to authorize the highway superintendent to purchase 2 2025 Kentwood T480 4x2 trucks with snow fighting equipment, and extended warranties 3 and 5, not to exceed 298,000 for a truck plus finance cost of 5-year lease payment of not exceeding $178,000 for both trucks.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking starting at the 298,000 per truck plus financing over 5-year period with Bank of Green County interest rate of 4.49%, or town of Hurley. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Or town of Hurley will purchase. We're not gonna purchase 2 trucks
For a total of 5.
for a total of 598.
To over 598, and that's not including, that's not
598, 596. 596.
596.
Plus financing costs. Which I already stated that back.
Because here, according to NCL here, for a 5-year lease.
We're not using NCL.
I know, I'm just saying here, just saying for records here, NCL, they for 5 years, each year, 69,302, 96.
So it's gonna be less
So
than.
it's just twice that, less than.
Not to exceed 178. covers it. Yeah.
That's my source.
One's-
The resolution, that's I didn't have.
It's a big contract. It's a big contract.
Yeah.
Evidence.
It's on your sheet. On this page. Clear.
So it's
06.
Total by us, 596.
06.
That's the price of the truck. and then
30.
finance.
SPTC.
So that's for 5 years.
Big contract.
So what we used to do on the bond is we always put the money back. So we should be able to put that money back in there before we even take the money out, back where it's built. So that we're always ahead of ourselves a year.
Yeah.
So,
And you know that I'll do my best to keep my budget in check so that at the end of the year, I have hopefully some money left over that
also,
we can offset taxes and help put into that truck fund. That's historically how I try to operate.
I'll second the motion.
amended.
So what's,
And then-
What's the amended motion at this stage?
Read that last paragraph so that you're gonna be clear about what you're voting on. Are you voting on Tim's or Mike's?
Yeah.
Not to exceed the 178,000. 596.
I make the motion to.
Plus the financial. 15,000.
Yes, for the record, what you get to.
All right. So okay, whereas the highway superintendent was able to locate replacement trucks with Gabrielli Truck Sales with the attached quote for Sourcewell bid contract 060920-KTC The two in stock 2025 Kenworth T480 and Reed Systems has given a time frame of 3 months to outfit the trucks with snow fighting equipment. So, all right, and then the other part is shall be resolved to authorize the high superintendent to purchase two 2025 Kenworth T480 4x2 trucks with snow fighting equipment and extended warranties 3 and 4, not to exceed 298,000 per truck,
96.
296.
96?
Yeah.
totals.
Why don't we just,
596 was the.
yeah, 596.
596.
Not to exceed 298.
596, yeah.
Per truck, plus financing costs, 5-year lease payment, not to exceed 100, we say 100 and.
It's not a 5 year, you're not leasing. You're not leasing.
Yeah, your bond.
You're buying.
Bonding.
And again, we don't pay for them until they're delivered. I made that clear today in my phone conversation.
Yes, it's both.
Could you just read that over?
Therefore, be it resolved to authorize the highway superintendent to purchase two 2025 Kenworth T480 4x2 trucks with snow fighting equipment and extended warranty, 2 and 5, not to exceed $298,000 per truck, plus financing costs for 5 years, bond payment, not exceeding $178,000, whereas the town employee will purchase trucks for $1 at the end of 5-year lease total.
No, that's out.
Yeah, I gotta change that 1 year dollar buy, there's no dollar buyout.
No difference.
And,
All right.
We're
Not
buying
to exceed, not to exceed 178,000.
and then this is still to be paid from capital.
3H fund. Okay, and to be paid from the capital fund of 3H highway department. Okay,
I'll second that as amended.
all right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Kind of early, thanks you.
Tracy, do you have?
As do I.
I do. Very accurate. That's why I got you.
And you know, you're saying you were trying to.
So you can
do that thing.
When we got a foot last year, I went out and bought a snow blower, brand new, Aaron, this nice one. And then we didn't get any more snow last winter. Except one more inch.
Since the board will give me a few more minutes, I'll give you an update on some of our projects that are going on.
Right, so hang on a second. This is the end of this thing. It's, this is $69,000, so we have to pay that twice. That's $138. I'm also here. Well, put it this way. It's not a. And the guy that's talking about, right, we're not seeing this. So it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, I know the things that okay.
You guys, I'll give you a little update too on some of the projects we're doing. I know that, the Orchard Lane drainage that we're doing in-house. We are about 60% completed on that. We're making good progress. Once we finish that up, we're gonna do the, Pine Street 375 culvert box that's collapsing and then get over to Brittany. And then, the contractors are moving right along. Possible that they could finish next week on the Wildwood project. I haven't gotten back down to see how the grass is growing down below.
Good job.
I know the grass up there on Wildwood project looks like a field, everybody's tickled. But,
On the Orchard Street, is that helping?
oh no, yeah, we haven't had any rain. I've never seen it that dry over there, to be honest with you.
Now you mentioned that's
We're going along at a good clip there now, so. What else do we have going on? The other thing is the speed humps. I've been discussing with, Callahan's, because they just did some down on East Chester Street bypass, just up from Burger King. You know, it's a standard 12 foot width by 3 inch high. And they're quite expensive. And,
One on Choice Lane, right?
Hmm?
Is that private one on Choice Lane? So put it on.
oh, that's one that we put in temporary.
Put it in temporary.
But the thing is that if we put the speed humps in, when we do the drainage next year and we pave the road, they have to come out and redone. So we'd be putting good money after that.
Let me ask you a
So I
question.
don't know what the town board wants to do, because you're talking, $5,000 a speed hump.
Yeah, but hey, my concern is this, that, when did the drainage issue on Troy's Lane come into play?
This past winter, and I've been trying to get the engineers over there. I don't know if you drove through there last year, but the ice was
Yeah,
horrendous.
it's terrible. I sold the house. from
It was the worst I've ever seen it.
So we're gonna have to redo the
We're gonna
road first with drainage.
We have to do the drainage, then the road. And I think that we can do that drainage in-house.
A memory of like over 30 years ago, the ice being bad over there one winter.
It was bad. They did some work on it, but it hasn't had any work on it for quite a while. And last year was just, like I said, it was the worst I've ever seen it. I mean, it had 6 inches, 7 inches of ice on the road. It was coming down off properties. When
Yeah.
you're going into this direction on the left side, the water was coming down, iced over the whole road.
Might have been 28 years ago.
It was its own,
96.
it was its own natural speed traps. I mean, the people had to go 2 miles an hour to get through that road because the ice was so bad. So, we'll have to have the discussion, Mike, and,
Okay.
see how we want to proceed and,
No, it's silly to put a speed humps in right now.
Well, we have
You
to,
can dig it up next year.
it's twofold because we have to figure out where the money for the drainage project is going to come. If we do it in-house, it'll be a lot cheaper, of course. But we have to make sure that funding's there to purchase the gravel, the pipe, the catch basins. Of course, the salaries all come out of the highway budget, so that's not a problem. It's just the stone and the pipe and the incidentals that we need. Fiber.
I'll keep in touch with, the residents there, let them know.
Yeah, I think we got to get, Engineering Larios, kickstarted on that one, because that's probably the worst one we have right now.
Okay.
Then we got Arnold and a few others.
And Deb's got a question. for you.
Yeah, Mike, I didn't get the chance to talk to you before, but we got another, more concerns about Collier Road. And they said there's no signs. I thought we put up signs for no through,
Transfer traffic.
no commercial, no.
Yeah, you guys authorized the signs, I think, the last meeting or two ago.
We authorized this, did we authorize that? No, we didn't authorize the signs. We didn't have
That
a
comes out,
resolution.
that comes out of an A account.
Right, I know that. I know that.
So you give the approval. I don't know if the whole board has to do it or you got to approve, but I
How
thought that
much
they
is
were
it?
ordered. I'm not sure. I'll check with Michelle. I knew she was waiting to hear.
Because we can order something, I can order something if it's under $5,000, by a board approval.
Yeah, I think you can order 2 signs. I think you can.
Okay, so we'll do that. We do one.
I can't, for the life of me, I can't understand people coming from 28 from up the Spillway Road direction and making that sharp turn to go in that road and go around to go to the transfer station. It just
They're
baffles
just
me.
following GPSs, I think, probably.
If you don't know how to get downtown, you should use the transfer station. They should be going up to Doug Hill and turning in. Because
I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying like that's how you're getting these crazy
So why don't
results.
you order those signs?
It's,
And we'll take
Yeah,
care.
Rick Galberti called me also.
but then we need some enforcement. We need to contact, we contact the sheriff's
That's the
department.
biggest thing,
For
but
help.
the sheriff's office is low on staff. It's tough to get any enforcement out there.
But it's pretty bad. I mean, they're asking for speed humps on that road too, which might be warranted.
And the other project that we went and started proposing in-house with our crew was Schoolhouse, limiting that off.
Right.
So we're hoping to get to that.
You mean with
This
speed
year?
humps?
Yeah, we're hoping to, because all we gotta do is we gotta lay lines down, cut the blacktop to narrow the road out, put topsoil grass seed in there. We don't have to do anything.
While we're on Schoolhouse, what's the status of getting that school zoned and signed
It's-
correctly?
I tell you, it's moving.
It is.
As fast,
The
as
plans
fast
to
as
the
it.
state came back to the
Yeah.
county and they're sending it back to the state.
No, they're taking it to Newburgh.
Oh, to New-
No, Poughkeepsie
Poughkeepsie.
for authorization. I mean, it's moving.
It's moving. All three of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
That's
the
what
road
that's
line,
real.
school zones and the town speed limit.
Amazing.
So.
I want a shirt to sit in my driveway.
A speed sign. The total number of speed signs in the town that are gonna be changed need to be allocated for next year's budget, so I need to know what that.
Are you gonna go down to 25 mile an hour?
Yes.
Well,
This is up to the board.
we have to get the approval from the state.
Well, not only do we have to place the ones that are out there, but some of them we have to correct to make sure that they're posted properly, so that when, you know,
Let me ask you a question, just a question. The speed sign also is for county roads,
Yes.
all right?
We don't have to replace those.
Right, but they replace them then.
yeah,
Okay, you just replace the town.
Where are you putting that 25? I didn't follow that. Everywhere.
Everywhere in town of Hurley.
Townwide.
Except for 28 and 209
Yeah,
and
I would love
375.
it. People go 50 on my road, which is 30.
Early Mountain Road. That's a county road.
That's it.
But if it, no, they told us if it goes through
It's
the
town
county
road, it's
road,
all
it
county
goes through
roads.
the town, it has to adhere to the 25 mile an hour.
So it has to be all or
We're told
nothing.
at the last meeting.
Yeah, it has to be.
Well, that's just, you know, people.
I don't know how correct that
That doesn't make sense.
is. Because we don't have jurisdiction to change the speed limit.
Is Hurley Mountain Road, is that a county or a state?
County. Wine Coop,
County.
just out in front of Town Hall, is state, and then over on the other side, it's county, and then all 209's county,
Unintended
Main
consequences.
Street's county, Zanbuck, DeWitt Mills is county, Lucas Avenue's county.
That's slow for Early Mountain Road, I guess.
Yeah, that's
It
too
is,
slow.
that is
That
slow.
wouldn't be right.
I guess we can talk to the county and
I
the
don't know if that's correct or not. I would
I mean, it doesn't
research
seem
that.
right. It has to be-
Seems to me if the town wants to lower the town's speed limit townwide, it would only pertain to town roads.
state. But when we met with the county, they said it's gonna be all roads.
So, Brendan, yes.
Get it in writing, never believe we can hear
Like the
it.
masses on the DPW said that it's gotta be all.
But the roads don't all currently have the same speed limit, do they?
No, yeah, no, not at all.
The
That
county
makes no
roads have
sense.
different speeds.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what he said though. We got to clarify that. All right. Let's go to the next thing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next thing is, early justice court resolution.
No.
You don't believe.
Okay, you all read it?
Yes.
All right, any discussions on this?
No, second.
All right, so second on it?
I second it.
All right, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is to authorize submission of application for emerging contaminant investigation. This is a resolution. This deals with the, I'm just not read this whole thing, but this thing deals with the transfer station, basically, DEC or the EFC, the environmental county there would like us to pass this resolution, allowing us to bid on or get a bid on taking care of the study, they can clean up the transfer station and that's the landfill more or less. Going through, it's a cost of 1.324 million. It's the cost to do this kind of thing. And here's the thing: once we get this approved, this gets approved to the 1.324 million. The cost of cleaning up is around 7 to 8 million. And the thing is, though, that once I cannot see the state saying to us, "We'll give you the money for the investigation," without doing the other part of it. That's wasted money. That part. So my feeling is that if we get approval for the investigation, that follows next. But the other thing we have also
You
about
can't
it,
say that for certain.
we can't say for certain, but it's foolish money on the state to give us that much money to do nothing on that aspect of it. And when I spoke to Donna Verna from Crawford, she said the same thing.
But there's no, like, we're getting fully funded on this, right?
We're getting full, put it this way, we're getting fully funded on this, or we're not getting fully funded. If we're not getting fully funded, we do nothing anyway. So in other words, there's no liability to
Nothing to
town.
lose.
To the
The
town.
town didn't create PFAS and the town didn't put it like we.
No, and,
Except for the waste
right, and the federal,
compliance.
in the federal court hearing down in South Carolina, says that the municipality was not illegally dumped in the landfill. Therefore, they don't have the money, they don't fix, they don't have to clean it up and all this. So that's basically what this says here.
I'll second that.
And we are doing this. Okay. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
RBT, this one's RBT. Nope.
No.
Rocco.
Okay, Paul.
Rocco, Paul here?
He's huge.
Okay, what it is, Rocco's giving out, grants, $100,000 grants,
Up to one.
up to $100,000 for ADU. If you saw the paper, we didn't get any, and the reason why, because we have no stipulation in the zoning for ADU. We are talking about doing an ADU. Paul is looking into it. Paul-
Accessory dwelling.
Accessory dwelling unit. In other words, what it is, I guess, what is it, 1,000 square feet is the maximum?
Under the proposed regulations I submitted to the board, 1,000 square feet would be the maximum size, yes.
And that could be an extension of the building or inside the existing building, right?
Or a standalone separate dwelling.
Right. So what we want to do basically now, this grant from Rocco is still available.
Can I interrupt you? I apologize, there's nothing in the packet, things that's supposed to be in the packet.
No, this is for discussion.
So like
Discussion.
a separate building as in like a carriage house. in this
Yes.
Situation.
Yes.
It has to be rent, do you agree, you're gonna rent it to a certain amount?
Right. Well, the whole idea of the ADU is for, Adrian families, more or less. Okay. All right. So we're gonna discuss this about that, and Paul's gonna come up with, you already have it, I believe, right? On ADU regulations?
I drafted and submitted it to the board 3 months ago, yes.
Okay.
So where is that? Is that information?
I'm not until the board, it's a legislative action, I couldn't set it.
So we're not gonna do it in time for Repco, from how I understand it, because they're already only giving to people who are shovel ready. You know, like if you're starting it now, but it's
I
still
know.
great to have it.
But we should
I
have
think it's
it.
good to have it as part of the zoning.
All right. Halloween curfew,
There you go.
where is that?
Up on your screen.
Yeah.
You need to pass this one now, I'd say.
Yeah, so Halloween curfew,
Yeah, we gotta
this
go.
year, 8 p.m. Children age 16 and under without an adult.
This is the standard thing we do every year.
Yes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay. Zoning fees.
Oh, that's not, it's not in here. It's
It's on
in
the-
here. It's discussing, so we talked months and months ago about changing, relooking at zoning and planning fees. Paul and I sat down and looked at the zoning fees, and Paul put together a proposal based on a discussion we're gonna bring forward at the next meeting. I will get that to you so you have it.
Yeah.
No, you all have.
Well, yeah, Paul said it. Yeah, Paul
I
said
sent it about 2 months ago. I sent in the zoning fees and I sent in, the planning board fees to look over. And I also gave you, zoning fees and planning board fees from other, municipalities.
Right.
You all have that. We haven't changed that.
But
Okay.
Paul and I are gonna propose the,
Can you put the proposal in the board drive?
yes.
Okay. All right. So.
That way it's
You
organized.
won't have the fees in it coming in it. So, yes.
Yes,
That's it.
That way this is what this is what's
Yes.
gonna be proposed, not
Yes.
for the zone.
an email from 2 months ago.
No.
That was your homework.
Well, I did my homework. I reviewed it. I talked to Debbie, right? Yeah.
All right.
Paul's up.
Yeah, zombies. Zombie properties.
Goes right along with Halloween.
Oh,
Sorry.
Or you want to comment on it? Come to the microphone.
Yeah. Okay.
I've explained to you all the
Just a point of clarification, I know the town board has,
Not to look at.
Go ahead.
oh wait,
Go ahead.
just a point of clarification, it's been in the newsletter twice in the last 6 months. Any residents who complain about zombie property should not go to the town board. It's a code enforcement matter under the state and local regulations. We would encourage you to submit it in writing to the building/zoning department. We will act on it. The current situation with zombie properties, we're nowhere near as bad as the populated areas, Kingston, Saugerties, New Paltz, and Town of Ulster. We do have several. I have recommended that the town board take action on one down on Old Route 209. It has been vacant and is in very bad condition. It does meet the criteria for the town board to act on it under Chapter 64, the Unsafe Buildings Law. I did present in writing the report as required by that law with photographic and visual support for the town board to take action to remediate the property.
I think we need, I would say that at the next meeting, we can be taking action That's,
This is on,
Yeah,
yeah, that one's, that, we gotta do something.
Yeah.
but the other one on Easy Street.
There's
I
no
mean, people have
violation.
spoken to this
Yeah.
board.
It's not an
public
unsafe
meetings
building.
about One specifically.
Under the state regulations or the local, it does not meet the threshold of an unsafe building.
It's just unkept.
It's uncapped, but it is secure.
Paul, just a clarification. Do you need to communicate directly to anybody who brings these kinds of queries, these questions? Who needs to communicate? Because
If
we're getting the emails.
I would strongly encourage you to forward it to me and I will sign it to a member of my staff or handle it personally.
And you should advise them that it should be corresponding directly with the building.
Gregory, with all respect, it's not a legislative action at this
Sure.
point. It's a code enforcement action.
Got it. Yeah,
That's what we do.
yeah, okay. Thank
Can we
you.
talk, well, for the next meeting, can we talk about what the remedial options are on that house or?
Well, it doesn't fall- if it's not-
No,
it doesn't fall-
Oh, the other one.
Are you gonna tell us what we should do, Paul, or do we have to decide?
Paul, do you make a recommendation?
I'm gonna make a recommendation that the stage did the two, that you're gonna need an RFP. One is to clean up the property so the building itself can be evaluated. It's not safe to even approach the building. I've already told the fire chief, his staff, if something happens at the building, they have to let it burn. It's too much of a risk to the emergency service.
So the
personnel.
homeowners relinquishing their rights, is that?
No, I posted the notice on the building. I tried to get a hold of I called and left messages for her cordially.
Right.
She's refusing to respond. I consulted with counsel who advised me that under the auspices of chapter 64, she has been duly notified by posting the notice on the building. Once the 30 days was elapsed, that's when I made the recommendation to the town
Oh, yeah,
board.
no, I just didn't know about it. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm happy to answer
Yeah, no,
questions.
thank you.
Okay,
You're welcome.
okay.
Please tell her.
All right, thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Contract with RBT for 2024 airport. We discussed that already.
Is there a fee, are they charging us additional from our monthly?
They are charging, we don't have a monthly charge. We
Oh,
have an hour phone.
I thought that they were.
Mike, what I'm seeing here in this proposal is two different things that they're gonna do for us, right? Assisting with the AFR, and then there's also assisting town personnel with data entry in QuickBooks software for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2023, not limited to a whole list of items. And the lowest charge on their list of fees and costs include $156 per hour for data entry.
Well, what's happening right now is that at this point right now, Wendy's entering all the data and going through.
Right, and she's entering this year's data because that's what
She's entering last year's data.
you're
No, I'm
doing.
not. We do not have QuickBooks up and running
Oh, no.
yet. We have purchased QuickBooks and Jim Quigley was working on setting it up. Jim Quigley's wet. Unfortunately, Jim had a situation and he's no longer able to help us. So therefore, we're kind of at a standstill with QuickBooks. I have spoken to Jim. Jim has told me that when his schedule clears up, hopefully within a month, he'll be able to meet with me and give me at least the basics of what he was thinking so that I can continue with it. Yes, I can set QuickBooks up, but Jim had a specific way that he started. So the problem is I've reached out to other municipalities that have QuickBooks. If I go that route and spend time and hours having, looking at the way they do it, it's not the way that it's initially been set up right now. So I'm kind of giving it a Band-Aid for about a month to see if Jim's schedule clears up. If it clears up, then I'll move forward with Jim helping me enough to get me up and running. My goal is January 1st to start on QuickBooks. We can continue to use Williamson. We're using it now. It's just that it is a Band-Aid. What I'm doing is putting the stuff into Williamson to process vouchers, cut checks, and then sticking everything in Excel spreadsheets so that I can provide voucher data
This
for
is,
you guys.
this is 2024.
2024, we have done nothing with 2023 other than hand off
That's right.
most of what Jim created, which was, going back and exploring all the data and trying to figure out what was right and what was wrong. And we are now transferring that all to the portal for RBT. I wasn't aware that there was any part of RBT charging us for any kind of data entry into QuickBooks. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't seen the contract, so I'm not aware of it. I thought that they were taking all of the information that we prepared for them and creating the AFR.
Supposing Jim doesn't move forward with this,
If
what
Jim
is the
doesn't move
solution?
forward, then I've already reached out to two different municipalities that use QuickBooks. And we may have to start fresh and, you know, look at what systems they're running in QuickBooks and then design them here for the town.
Can I interrupt? I mean, like, so it's not Wendy's inability to enter the data. It
Correct.
is that, going back to your discussion, is that Jim has a structure that he's
Exactly.
created. So he's basically recreating a software program using QuickBooks as the basic, you know.
You know how much I don't like depending on one person.
What, well, so, but the problem, and that's what the problem is, I mean, I'm not saying, is that Jim has been creating the structure within QuickBooks so that, and so that Wendy can enter all of the data, and he got caught midway. So it's not necessarily that you may need RBT to be doing data entry, but now going back to 2023, Wendy has gotten all of the information she can get together, but RBT already has a portion of that information. So it's like you're caught between two different places. RBT has through the middle of the year that they already have in their system theoretically.
Yes.
And now we have the last half of that year that's hanging out and doesn't have a home and isn't in a format
Correct.
that anybody can literally look at it easily because it was never properly, it wasn't properly recorded.
So can I ask a question then? So depending on Jim, I think based on what I know, this is not a good time, so we might not be seeing Jim for a little bit.
Right, that's why
Okay.
that's why I've reached out to the two municipalities who use QuickBooks
Okay.
to see, can we, you know, I can easily set up QuickBooks, but it is not gonna be to the comparability that Jim was going to set them to. Jim had, you know, we have different funds, so Jim had set up a company for each fund, which may not be how other smaller municipalities do that, but Jim takes everything to the.
Well, my
how do I
question,
explain?
yeah, no, it's okay. My question is, what are you going to do if Jim does not come through?
I am going to finish reaching out to those two municipalities and adopt the way that they are
Okay,
using.
and hold on, excuse me.
I don't think that.
No,
needs to be
let me just,
stated.
I just want to be clear on something.
Sure,
Is it possible for you to take action now and not wait on Jim?
not while I'm filtering all this information to RBT to finish the 2023
Okay,
AFR and do everything else
okay,
that's
I
on my
understand.
plate.
I
Yeah,
understand.
that's the problem. Now, QuickBooks is truly just a Band-Aid for the town. We have to purchase a significantly well-developed professional accounting system.
So that's kind of where I'm going with
Yes.
this, because what we're talking about Band-Aid, even
Yes.
with Jim, it
Yes.
seems that there is going to be another Band-Aid. So the
Correct.
question is, what should we do?
Well, we started looking into it and then there was a rush to get 2024 financials up to date. So we stopped researching it
Okay,
and started doing all the data entry, which is what I'm at now. We have to, you know, we have to invite the vendors down here. We have to spend time researching what is best for us. We'd like to find something that complements the BAS system that the accounting clerk is using. We'd also like to find something that ties into what Paul uses. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's, there you go. So that we can find something that can, and works with ADP, so that there's
Yeah.
not so many Band-Aids.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the system that was purchased years ago or 2 years ago, Williamson, is junk. So we're Band-Aiding it until we can figure out what to do.
Basically what you're looking for is almost like you need best practices established
Correct.
for doing this, correct? You need that lined out on a white paper. These are the best practices for counting the town, which I believe that sort of thing is already available. We're not reinventing the wheel through the state comptroller's office.
exactly.
No, we're
Right.
putting them into place.
And we're implementing those practices, right? Which are GASB, Government Accounting Standards Board practices.
Correct.
And then which I believe you went to a training on. just
Correct.
recently. Okay,
And I'm currently taking training.
excellent. And then what we need to do from there is best practices, like we need to identify and purchase a software that has the correct type of APIs, which allow, systems to be integrated so that we can have a system that talks to and picks up data from the various systems that are in place in the town and identify which fields of data are allowed to talk to each other, because you're not gonna link the whole thing.
At this point right now, we have no interface between us.
No systems are talking to each other.
Can I ask a question then?
Sure.
I mean, the only research that seems to be needed right now is to figure out what the system is that
Correct.
we need to use. So I would encourage you, I can't imagine that a referral from the
Oh, no,
comptroller.
they're calling nonstop.
The
I mean, I
comptroller will not offer a referral on
Yeah,
the software.
They will not.
They specifically stated that.
Correct. The vendors that I met when I went last year in April are calling nonstop. I'm pushing them off because I've got to get control of 2023,
Fine, okay.
get the AFR done,
Got it.
which is what we're working on with RBT.
Yeah.
Once that is done, then my goal next is to say, okay, let's free up some time, the town board give me one councilwoman man that can meet with me, maybe, encompass the deputy supervisor / budget director who has knowledge of the finances of the town, and sit down and meet with a couple vendors and decide what is the best, avenue. But unfortunately, we're talking money. I mean, I think Jim got quotes of like $100 to $200,000 just to implement the financial system that will be able to do everything that we need.
And just let me clarify, prior to 2022, RBT did all of that. We gave them the data. They had a program that worked with our stuff. They issued all those reports. The previous administration then got their own book, people wanted to do their own stuff in-house, got rid of RBT. When we got rid of RBT, they got rid of the system that we used to be able to give them the data for. So they can't process any data after July of 2023 because they no longer have that system in place.
Correct.
The only reason why it's not like it wasn't done years and years and years. RBT always did it, but we wanted to change it to in-house in 2022. So that's where it all went.
The reason why you
There
wanted
were
it,
problems.
the reason why I wanted it in-house is because when we had RBT and before that, you could only bring in vouchers once or twice a month and that's it. If we needed to cut a check like tomorrow, so they
You
wouldn't.
would do it.
Right.
They would,
And the
that's why,
problem-
that's what was decided to come in.
And
And we're
that's-
spending $60,000+ a year.
Well, 5,000 a month, right? But that's why we didn't have they got the Williamson, which was horrible, but we never had a system before that because we didn't have a bookkeeper. Right, that's why this is also real.
And the other thing that Jim has put into place, which is extremely helpful, is that every document that comes through the bookkeeper's office, every voucher, every letter, every deposit is now scanned into files. So if, Mike from Highway calls me and says, hey, Wendy, I got a question on my voucher, I can easily pull it up in 2 seconds. I'm not walking into that safe and digging through 14,000 boxes. So Jim has put really good policies and procedures into place. It's just taking time
Sure.
to get everything to work. We are headed in a great direction.
Sure.
We made 1,000 times of miles of steps that we did before I walked through the door in January. It's just,
Once the
It
system's
takes
set up,
Yeah, I got it.
and it can run by itself.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
And we spent, and how much money did we spend on Williamson? We're spending. we spent 35,000,
33.
Yeah.
$33,000.
But I think it's gonna, my goal is by January, we shouldn't need Williamson. Because right now, we're just literally pumping data into it, producing checks. I can do that in Excel. You know what I mean? So the goal is to get QuickBooks up and running. It'll happen, just need more time.
Sure.
And I didn't expect Jim to,
When does that Williamson contract?
I have to look at it.
It was
It's a yearly one.
$30,000 for the initial
Initial
purchase
setup.
of the software, 3,000 and change a year
Yeah.
for their annual licensing fee. Again,
So we'd already paid for
we paid for
2024.
2024. We're
So
not
my
paying.
goal is to not need it in 2025.
When is the next payment triggered for the?
I'd have to look, I
It's
believe
gonna
that
be
it's,
probably in, I believe, February.
it's in
To make
February.
sure that I know what
That was what
is.
it
So
Doesn't stop.
automatically renewed.
The only thing I was going to say is Jim's put into place, but there are several towns that are using QuickBooks. So for when people go spend an afternoon observing,
and get
Now
them
they're
to,
functioning.
get them to take screenshots of how the software configuration pages are done, so that
And
how
we
all
can
these.
just export it. If we, you know, once I set up a connection with these towns, we can export all of their data into our QuickBooks system. So then I'm not retyping in vendors and names and addresses, because they're gonna use the same kind of people that we do.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's just really establishing those connections. We've reached out to two. I haven't heard back from either one of them, but Tracy is helping me to establish a
I'll get
connection.
to the other one.
Like,
We are
you're
moving
saying the vendor file, like, you could get a vendor file from another town, so we're not recreating the wheel and we don't have to
Exactly.
type in each Herzog
Exactly.
supply
Export
company.
it out of their system and
Each one of
import it
these
into ours. Yes.
And the fund lines and things like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, so can we get, go back to getting a, RBT for a monthly fee? I thought we were gonna try to get them to do that.
Well, we haven't used them at all till now. Basically, what we've used then is, just like a piecemeal, the a la carte menu. In other words, if we gave them 5,000 a month, they would do the whole thing.
We're not gonna do that, okay.
But here's the thing, we haven't used them at all, basically, and what we paid them so far is less than 5,000 a month.
Okay,
So we can go back.
Well, we know what we're gonna use them for from here on in. Can we establish a new monthly inclusive payment? It doesn't have to be 5,000, but if they're only gonna do,
They're only doing the AFR.
And I believe.
Well, this contract shows data entry.
Right, it should be a special project,
okay,
a special project, and they should give you a budget, not that they're giving you.
Well, I spoke to Joe Montalto, and I said to him,
John's gonna.
give me a total amount.
right, yeah, I wanna know what it, yeah.
I believe they're reviewing the data that I
Okay.
provided to them
come up with a
from
price.
Jim, and then they should be able to come up with an
Okay.
idea of what they're gonna need.
All right,
So, I mean, I don't know if you have to sign the contract tonight or what.
No, I'm not signing
doing it, But I would wait until we know exactly what they
He
need.
has, I spoke, like I said, I spoke to Joe Tuesday, I spoke to Joe Montalto on Friday. And he said this week, would give me a figure of how much those it was.
And Mike, as you discussed, we do have to use an outside auditor for the 1099s.
Sure.
Just to get us, to get those produced. Then we do need a town audit. We don't need it. I prefer we get a town audit. Once we have everything situated, hire hopefully a company that,
We have a company.
UHY.
I prefer somebody that has never done work for the town.
UHY, we've contacted them.
That way they have clear eyes, fresh out.
That's
They
exactly
can give
what-
us a professional opinion and say this, from point A to point B, things you have established, the changes you have made, the policies and procedures, you're headed in the right direction.
This is exactly what the state control said to us.
And that's exactly what we have to do.
RPT can't do it for us.
No, because they did part of, huh?
They give you your 1099.
Yes, and that's what I spoke to Mike about. Yes. But they should be able to provide us a flat amount to do the 1099s. Once we produce all of the information.
Based on how many we have, they should know how much.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
yeah, I just let you know on the cannabis law, you all have it, it's in the, it's on the packet here. It's sent to you.
Yeah.
I want you to look it over because I want to, go through this. We did get some money from, we shared in something like around $71,000, 4 towns on the cannabis, on this recent cannabis, dispensary.
We got less than $200.
We got, yeah, the reason why, because we have no cannabis law.
We don't have a dispensary.
And that's it, and things don't, no, we opted in. We opted in.
We received the taxes.
Right, to see the taxes, but we have no dispensary here. And therefore, we get the lowest amount.
And we get it on pop-ups. We had a couple
And so the
pop-ups.
thing is, what first thing I do is pass the cannabis law. All right, so that will, so you have that in your package. I've asked, Bonnie Franson to set, to go over it. If like, we all had questions, because she had, red marks all over it, and asking us which one we want. I'd like you guys to look it over. All right, get it to me as soon as you can, so I'll send it to Bonnie. Bonnie will then update it over, and by the next town board meeting, we should have a resolution to, pass this cannabis law. It's only in the public hearing like that.
Oh, we do?
Yeah. So basically is, we'll start the ball rolling once you guys, look at it and go from there. We did get 200, right? We did get 200.
It's roughly $200.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Okay. So the next one is, for the ambulance district.
We had a public meeting, public hearing on the 24th. We kept it open for 2 weeks for comments. We did get a few comments, that I could cover or see. Mostly positive. There was some concerns about taxes, like raising the taxes. I did also want to, before I go any further, I want to just once again thank all the folks that worked so hard to get us here. Tremendous amount of effort, to get to the point that we even understood what needed to be done. So, also, I just wanted to mention that we have continued to meet with, Eric Everson, who's the Director of Emergency Services in Ulster County. And Everett, thank you. Erickson, thank you. And we continue to have that discussion. We're going to continue to stay in touch with them.
You got to talk to the other town.
Yes, yes, for sure. We also met with them separately because we had some concerns about our data. So we had a separate session with them. In those sessions, they have all, including Jamie Caparano. She's the deputy executive to Jen. They have all support, expressed their support for us moving to a tax district. Absolutely imperative. That's the first step in getting to a solution. We did just at 5:55 tonight, we got an email from Everett that I just wanted to read to you. Council Member Doherty, I wanted to reach out and let you know that we are unable to attend the meeting that we have since week. As we both know, there's a lot of work ahead of everyone, but we do feel that the town of Hurley is taking the correct steps in creating an EMS task district. We look forward to working with you on the next steps to address EMS sustainability in your area and Ulster County. So we have lots of support from multiple different levels of the county. And so tonight we have a resolution for close public hearing. And then to approve the formation of the tax district for the ambulance district. That's in there.
Technically, you don't need.
Oh, it's a motion, right? It's not a resolution.
Someone makes a motion, someone seconds it, you can discuss it, vote on it.
I think you got it buried in the.
And I guess I would just, can I ask if there's anybody here that wants to make another comment?
No.
Since
I
it's
think the
open?
wording, when we
No,
have
no,
the
we
public
always
hearing
get
open,
in
was
writing.
open
Oh,
for
till
written
5.
comment.
Okay. Thank you. So I make the motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Can you do a roll call? Sure.
Mike?
Mike? Councilman?
Yes.
Deborah Doherty, yes.
Whoever Simpson, yes.
Diana Klein, yes.
And Kelly, yes.
Closed. Next step is to approve the tax district for formation of an ambulance district. And we have the resolution here that was written by our lawyer, Terry Hannigan. Resolution for the purpose of establishing the Hurley Ambulance District and the District Board of the Ambulance Commissioners. And do I need to read?
Well, we
Yes.
said add in here, a line there, leave it on.
Oh, yes, the public hearing, and because we had just closed it, so,
Leave it on.
did you find it?
10-8.
This is right, and so we just have to add in the whereas, the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas, concluded on October 8th, which we just concluded.
2024.
October 8th, 2024. And then also now be it resolved that during a regular meeting conducted on October 8th, 2024.
Well,
Right, just because we were doing that today. Yeah, so, Did you find it?
Yeah.
So, the motion to, for the resolution as amended, the 2 dates.
second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have some. So, yeah, for the record, I'd just like to state a few things. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm in support of doing what is necessary to ensure that when our residents call 911, that an ambulance arrives in the shortest amount of time possible. Secondly, I'd like to state that during previous board discussions on this matter, it was put to the board that this was the same as both Olive and Marbletown. This proposal is structurally similar to Olive and differs from Marbletown in that they do not have a separate board for the ambulance board district. The town board serves in that capacity. I would prefer to see the Marbletown structure be utilized for this, as it keeps the advisory for EMS close to the purse strings that the board possesses. Given the results of the comprehensive plan survey, residents are urging us to keep costs the same or lower for them. With that in mind, given the shortage of volunteers, things simply cannot stay the same. Something must be done, and with support in hand from the Director of Ulster County Department of Emergency Services, I do believe us to be on the correct path. I'd like to finally state that there were a few comments that we received objecting to the proposal or wanting the county or our neighbors to do this for us. We cannot do nothing and expect others to do for us. This is fundamentally the why of how we have gotten into this situation. If you object to this and would like to send this to a referendum of the voters, that process is available to you under Town Law Article 7, subsections 90 to 94. I'm looking forward to our community taking this burden off of our volunteers and paying EMTs fairly.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, any other discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Yep. Right, roll call.
Aye. I say aye.
Deborah Doherty, aye.
Aye.
Diana Klein, aye.
Tim Kelly, aye.
Yes. So the next one, now that we've passed that, the next one is, to authorize us to seek a municipal certificate of operation. It gives authority for the town of Shirley, pursuant to the public health law 3008. That's just to authorize to submit the application for a certificate of municipal
Which gives us the ability to run the.
operation. Correct.
Does that also give us the ability to enter into intermunicipal agreements for the ambulance service?
I believe
It does.
it does, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well, realistically, it's a separate non-for-profit corporation that's being formed that would then enter into an agreement with another municipality as well.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you, Diana. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone,
Aye.
They
I
want to
say
say
aye.
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 Diana Klein, aye.
Tim Kelly, aye.
Yeah, that's with the other. That's the second page of this one. That's the second page of this one. Yes. And then this is the
Now,
second.
now it's the budget.
We just have it on
I
like
do
that,
think-
yeah. Okay.
So,
This one.
budget. John, you want to talk about that?
It's the scheduled budget.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the secret. You got it?
Okay. Resolution to set public hearing on the preliminary 2025 town of Berlin budget. Whereas the budget officer has prepared a tentative budget for the year 2025 that was submitted to the town board and the town clerk, and whereas pursuant to town law, section 108, public hearing must be held on or before Thursday immediately following the general election to approve the budget, and notice of such public hearing must be published at least once in the town's official newspaper at least 5 days before the hearing. Therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Hurley holds a public hearing on the 2025 preliminary budget to be held at Town Hall, 10 Wednesday Place this is going to be at, I guess, 6 p.m. on October 22nd, 2024, and be it further resolved that the town clerk shall cause notice of said public hearing be published in the town's newspaper of record and all other outlets are provided by law and resolution of the town board. Do I have a second? Second. Discussion. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, we are now up to the second public comment. Anybody wish to,
You're gonna open it first.
I'm sorry. Make a motion to open the second public comment. All right, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Anybody want to speak? No?
Yeah, I just want my understanding was by the by. You go to the mic, Lynn, please. Was a discussion. Hard to hear. I just wanna, regarding the accounting, it was my understanding that the Williamson software didn't have data entered into it at the end of last year. That's all, but it can't be found.
It does have data in it, but after looking at it with Jim, it is not data, the system doesn't have the ability for us to pull it out in any sort of mechanism that would be useful to our meetings.
So you can't do a CDS file or anything?
Absolutely
No.
not without calling Williamson again and having them work through it. And they wanted to charge us some outrageous amount of money.
And the other problem with that, I mean, I'm gonna answer it, is that
I don't trust the guy.
that these can only data in, or data out is only as good as data in, and the data in was not.
Well, we ran, Wendy, if you remember, when you first started, I came in and asked you to produce a report of the check register where the information, like, as of May 1st, there's, that report shows on the dates of 1/1/23 to 12/31/23, all checks written, and the data just ends abruptly. When you put those dates and spit the report out, there was no more data. So I don't know where the data is. It doesn't sound like anybody.
It's in the system. Was the system set up properly? I want to tell you no. And unfortunately, the way that the contract was written, they don't want to help us. And it's going to cost the town more money on a system that's not really efficient.
It seems odd to use QuickBooks for town board accounts.
Okay, yeah, hold on a second. I got, wait, public comment. Yeah, okay. That's it. Okay. All right, anybody else want to make a comment? All right, motion to close the public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We now have a motion to go into executive session. The topics are.
Okay, so that is not. That's basically. All right, so you're calling public, the executive session pursuant to public officers law 105E, collective negotiations. Yes. Sorry, 14 the civil service.
And personnel.
And I want to invite, Tracy, I want to invite.
Well, are you talking about any individual personnel pertaining to their hiring, firing, or discipline? Or are you talking about basically personnel contracts pertaining
Okay,
to
it's right,
the
it should be
collective bargaining?
contracts, right,
Okay.
okay.
So when we go into executive session, you have to look at this. So it's just one topic here.
It's one topic.
Just list them all so that you're covered, and you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to. How's that?
It's also a memorandum of agreement between two employees with the union.
But that
That's a
seems to
contract.
fall
But it's-
within
yeah,
the
but it's-
collective
We follow with that.
bargaining agreement negotiation.
All right, okay, all right.
All right, I'll kick you guys out if you guys. start talking about something.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
I had a long day.
Okay, that's right. So, who might make the motion, who seconded it? Or is it back with the motion?
Okay, so the motion is to go in there to talk about the collective bargaining agreement pursuant to 105E. And you are inviting your town attorney, anyone else? I know the head of the building department, what about, and the
John
deputy
Harris.
supervisor, anyone else?
Wendy going in or no?
What about the town bookkeeper? You guys can invite anyone.
Wendy's gone, she left.
We don't need to.
So the motion
Matt,
is to go into
John,
executive session.
We got the budget officer.
We got the budget officer, we got the
Town
town
clerk
clerk,
and
and
the.
the town
Well,
lawyer.
technically, the
Lawyer.
town clerk would be there anyways.
Taking notes.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, so that's the motion that's on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I got a better idea. Why can't we stay there?
No. Can't say that. Like, you need to go to.
You don't want to keep it over.
Okay.
Guys, the recording is good.